What up, y'all? All right, so today's video, man, I didn't really want to rush this video. I wanted to actually take my time with this, actually test it out and use it to be able to give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions when it comes to this device right here. All right, so let's kick this off like this. When I first got this device, I was frustrated, y'all. I couldn't figure out how to get certain games to actually work on it. It kept telling me that it needed to update my drivers on here. I experienced game crashes, several system reboots during the initial setup. I mean, y'all, look, I spent hours on hours on hours to get to the point where I think this might actually be the best handheld gaming PC that is out on the market today. But boy, let me tell you, it was challenging getting to that point. Let's talk about it. Now, in this video right here, I'm gonna be talking to my people out there that might be interested in this. If you guys are a person like me, if you're coming from a console device like a PS5 or Xbox Series S or X, because look, we all know this device here is geared more towards those people out there who are already familiar with gaming on a PC versus gaming on a console. The first thing that I need you guys to understand when you guys are buying something like this is you are essentially buying a handheld PC. Do not, and I repeat, do not go into this, grabbing this, thinking that you guys are just gonna be like a PlayStation or an Xbox where you can just open up the game, press play, and boom, boot it up and you're good to go. Because look, at first, although that sounds good in theory, but at first, y'all, that is not the case until you set this up. Let me explain. So when I first got this device, right, I was hyped from the original announcement of it. Like, I couldn't wait to be able to play Modern Warfare 3 on it, as well as just being able to run some COD with my guys, right? Although you can do that, just know it was 100% one of the biggest challenges to get to that point for me. When you first get this, understand that you guys need to make sure you have everything. And I mean everything updated, from Windows 11 updates to even the controllers on here needs to be updated, as well as installing and setting up your Steam as well as Xbox Game Pass accounts. Because look, in order for you guys to be able to play any type of games on here, you will need to have access to that, which I already had a Game Pass account, which if you guys don't, then they do give you 1 year of Game Pass Premium for free, which I think is dope. And I also had a Steam account as well, so I was good there. But where I actually kept experiencing issues was when I wanted to play COD, because it kept telling me that my graphics and my drivers needed to be updated. Then when I actually pressed the install button that would pop up on the screen, it would just take me to Activision page and be able to show me how to actually install it. And then I'm gonna tell y'all, man, I spent hours on hours on hours trying to figure out how in the hell to do it, only to find out in some forums that I read out there that the updated drivers for this Lenovo Legion Go is not even available yet. This, to me, y'all, I'm gonna be honest, man, it was frustrating because it was like waiting in a line. Have y'all ever waited in a line at a restaurant for a crazy long time, and then when you finally get to the front of the line, what you actually wanted, they tell you is not even available no more? Like, why you have me wait in line that long and then tell me from the beginning? Like, that's how I felt with this device. I feel like Lenovo should have came out with some type of statement prior to release, letting everybody know that the updated drivers is not available, and you might actually see some errors and show us some type of workaround in order to be able to play our games. Because honestly, without them, there's some settings like Call of Duty and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to get the best graphical performance that you can get out of those games because you're not able to get the updated drivers that they recommend. But after I got over all of that and was actually able to play my games, man, look, I can't front to y'all. This handheld PC right here, y'all, is by far one of the best that is out. And if you guys are wondering, yes, I would choose it over the Asus ROG Ally, in my opinion, for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is around this screen here, y'all. 8.8-inch screen. It looks so good on this screen, being able to play games on it like COD, as well as Gears of War 5, or even watching Netflix movies on here, because again, it is a handheld PC. And having that 2560 by 1600 screen resolution with 144 hertz refresh rate on here, man, I'm just telling y'all, it looks damn good. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Although I would have liked the screen brightness to possibly be somewhere in like the 600 nits peak brightness range, because being at 500 is literally the same as the ROG Ally, which if you guys go back to those videos, I mentioned in that video on how I would actually like the screen to also be brighter on that machine as well. I just felt like whenever I'm in bright rooms or direct sunlight, like it just wasn't the easiest to be able to see. But also understand that, you know, that would also come with draining the battery a little bit more. So I get it. But, you know, somehow I would like, you know, I still want that peak brightness. Now, speaking of battery, let's go ahead and talk about the experience and how that's been for me, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this is like the Achilles heel of this device. So I tested using this plan on performance mode with the screen brightness turned all the way up because again, I felt like the screen is just not bright enough for me. And no lie, when I was playing COD and I was also switching over to that Gears of War 5, which that game is actually fire, I only got an hour and a half of gameplay, and man, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, that went by way too quick. At least it does pop up on the screen. I give it that. It gives you a warning letting you guys know, hey, you need to plug this in. It's about to die on you. But man, only getting an hour and a half it's not the best. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, when you guys put it in the quiet mode and you run like a 2D like game, I was actually able to get nearly around like 5 hours of gameplay on it. With that being said, is the battery life good? I think honestly that question comes down to the style of games that you like to play. If you guys are in performance and labor intensive games like Call of Duty, Gears of War, that stuff like that, then I would say you probably want to keep a battery bank nearby, or if you guys are on the go, you know, maybe keep your charger with you to be able to plug it in while you guys are gaming. But if you guys are into games like Minecraft or classic like games like Ninja Turtles that I also like to play, I think 5 hours is actually good considering all that this system can do. Now, with battery, how was the actual gameplay? To me, the gameplay on it was smooth for the most part. Now, in the beginning, I'm gonna be honest, I did have some times where there was some slight screen turn, but I think a lot of that had to do with some updates that were still running in the background, because now when I'm actually playing games on this, I don't experience any type of screen turn or anything like that, and the gameplay is very smooth. Now, I know you guys are probably like, well, CK, what games did you play on it? Now, I tested this playing games like COD, Gears of War, which I feel like are some of the most labor-intensive games that you guys can play on this system from a GPU as well as a CPU perspective. And I felt like, honestly, man, it ran like a champ. I think any games that you guys throw at this system right here, I feel like it can handle it no problem after you get all them updates and everything ran out of the way. And let me say it again. It looks damn good, y'all, on this 8.8-inch display. I feel like this is definitely one of the better displays that is out there when it comes to the gaming handheld market. But just like everything, man, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because one of the downsides to me that I felt like when it came to gaming on here has to deal with the speakers. I felt like the speakers on here was just not good. Like, I just felt like they didn't really get that loud. The sound sounded very flat. There was no punch to it, unlike something like the Asus RG Ally, where the speakers on that thing was solid. Now, if they could get those speakers in here, then I feel like it would be game over. And honestly, I was actually surprised by this, man, because I felt like with this being such a bigger device, I would have actually expected a better pair of speakers in here. But yeah, they definitely fell short in that department to me. But a workaround could be something like if you guys have some like external speakers that you guys can Bluetooth to this, or if you guys want to wear your favorite gaming headphones, or in my case, the Sony InZone earbuds, which are 100% my go-tos right now when it comes to gaming. If you want to learn more about those, man, then I'll have a video right up here that you guys can check out right after this video. Now, the next thing I want to talk about with this has to deal with the heat as well as the fans. Now, during my gameplay, right, and my testing with this, the fans did kick on, which I would expect them to, by this being, you know, a small chassis and all of that. And although you guys can hear them, it's not like overly loud or anything like that, so you won't have no problems there. But one of my major concerns that I have with this is the entire left side of the screen got ridiculously freaking hot. Now, I'm imagining the battery might be on this side of here, sitting on this side of the screen, but to me, that poses like a long-term concern of mine, because will this actually cause harm or cause issues to the screen over the long haul? Now, at this time of my testing, I didn't have any performance or issues to the screen or anything like that. But I do want to point out, I will be on the lookout for that, because this screen on the left side, man, it gets crazy, crazy hot. Also, on the back of here, this area right here where the vent and the fans are, it does get fairly warm to be able to touch. But again, it's not anything that's like too hot to touch or nothing like that. Especially for the most part, you're going to be actually using this you know, holding on to the plastic controllers anyway. Now, since we actually on the controllers, I want to actually talk about these for a second. These controllers here, let me go ahead and just take one of these. Let me take these off real quick. So to pull these off, they have this little button here that you just kind of press in, and then you just slide down and they come right off, right? Now, when it comes to these controllers here, these are literally, man, a game changer when it comes to having a handheld gaming PC. This is something that I didn't really know that I needed or wanted until I tried them. Let me explain what I mean. So first off, holding these just in my hands, they felt really good from an ergonomic standpoint, whether I have them off like this or whether I have them actually docked on the actual system in itself. I would say so far for me having a Nintendo Switch, testing out the Asus RG Ally, and now the Lenovo Legion Go, I would say, man, that the Lenovo Legion Go is 100% definitely feels way better than any of the other ones that are out there today. It just feels like complete in the hands, really easy to put these back on here. You won't have no issues there, none like that. You pretty much just align the pins up and you just slide up like that, and then boom, you back in the game. The next thing to me, man, that I felt like was genius, and why I feel like this actually might be one of the best ones out here, is the fact that they put a freaking trackpad on here. Like, I feel like it's a small thing, but it's genius. Like, it makes navigating on Windows, whether you guys are browsing the web, playing through your settings, and all of that just way easy and just way more natural to be able to use. And I also feel like the placement of it is perfect. And there's slight little like feedback that you get when you guys are kind of scrolling across with your fingers. I mean, it just feels good. Having this trackpad, man, allows you guys not to have to touch the screen as much to get like fingerprints all over display, because this is something you guys definitely want to avoid. Now, I do know there was some people out there that did say they had some issues when it came to their trackpad, but with my testing, I didn't have any issues with the trackpad at all. But again, that's not to say that they're right or they're wrong. It's just my personal experience. I didn't have any issues with it. But one of the major things that I actually like about this whole system here is the ability to be able to take this thing out of here, put this in here, and use it as a freaking controller slash mouse, which is dope, which is lightweight, kind of like a cheat code when you think about it, when it comes to aiming, when you're playing first person shooter games. Now I see all y'all PC gamers out there, y'all lightweight cheating, man. But keep in mind, this will only work for first person shooter games. Now I tried to use this on different genres, game titles, and it would just basically put a mouse on the screen and none of the other functions on this controller will work. But to me, this is actually dope right here, man, because it actually showed the versatility of what you guys can do. Now, the only thing that I didn't like about the first person shooter mode and kind of having it docked like this is the fact that the joystick facing, like this part right here, is like facing into the palm of my hand, and I just wish there was a way that I could just unscrew this off of here so that way it's not digging into my palm. It just feels unnatural in my hands just a little bit to be able to hold. But again, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a deal breaker, nothing like that, but it is something that it might feel weird in your hands when you first try it. Now, I will say, for my gamers out there that are console gamers, playing like this, as far as your movement and aiming, this is definitely going to be something you're going to have to get used to, because it took me a while, and I still haven't 100% figured it out, and be honest with y'all, it took me a while to actually be able to kind of get this whole movement down. But the one thing that I will recommend you guys do is to make sure that you guys program all your buttons prior to switching this over, because you will have to go into your settings and change all of that, because you're going to be like trying to figure out how to pick up ammo, how to shoot, and all of that, because it changes all of the button configurations on both of these controllers. So you definitely want to make sure you have that set before you make this switch. Now, the other thing that I have to mention that I didn't really like about these controllers here, if I'm just being honest with y'all, man, has to deal with the buttons. I feel like they almost went overboard, like too many buttons on the freaking controllers. Like, I just feel like we don't need all of this. Like, I feel like they only really needed two, like one on this side and one on this side on the back would have been enough just to call it a day. But to have two that are actually aligned vertically on one side, and then to have two that's aligned on the right joystick, like, I just felt like it's unnecessary. Now, I get it. Yeah, you can actually program these, but I felt like the one on the right hand here, when you guys actually have it docked here, I feel like when you holding it, it just feels like the buttons is getting in the way, and it just, I don't know, it just don't feel natural. But when it comes to the triggers here, the triggers on top here, I feel like they nice. They got nice travel to them. Although I do wish that you could adjust like the trigger tension levels on here. I feel like maybe to have like a shorter pull travel to it would be nice. Also, I will say, since I'm coming from a PS5, I wish there was some type of like haptic feedback whenever I do pull down the trigger, or just like some type of haptic feedback in the system in itself to kind of give us, you know, that sense of like that real first person shooter experience. To me, not having that feedback just kind of made the gameplay feel flat in a way. Maybe I'm spoiled coming from a PS5 DualSense controller, but now I actually appreciate the haptics on that even more. But again, it's not that big of a deal, but it is more of a want that I would want in the next gen. Lenovo, hit me up. I got some ideas that we can talk about. Now, speaking of ideas, I love one of the ideas that they did with this here, and it has to deal with the hardware and software. So let's go ahead and get into that. First, I love the fact that we actually get 2 USB-C ports on here, one on the top, and then we also get one here on the bottom. And for you guys ask it, yes, you can use either one of these to be able to charge it up whenever you guys want. One, you can have it plugged into an external display, and then at the same time in the bottom, you can use this for charging it up, which is actually perfection, because I felt like this was something that was missing on the ROG Ally when I actually did my gaming desk setup video, which you can check that video out right up here after this video. Now, the other thing that I like about this is the kickstand. I felt like the kickstand on here is really freaking sturdy to the point where you can adjust it in many positions, and no matter where you guys set it, it's gonna stay in place. Now, when it comes to software, I like this whole dedicated button here in the top left-hand corner here. Like when you press it, it just launches open the Lenovo Space app where you get access to all of your games as well as all of the platforms that you guys like to play, like Game Pass or Steam, and I think they have some other ones in here, Epic, Ubisoft Connect, and all of those different ones that we have. I just felt like this is just a really clean looking UI that you guys get when it comes to this screen. The only thing that I don't like about it is how sensitive this screen is whenever I'm scrolling. You can just see I just did it right here. It just accidental like touches in here. It's just not good at all. And I only experienced this inside of the Lenovo Space app. Now, if I'm out here, let's say, for example, I'm out here and I'm browsing the web or something like that, I don't have that same sensitive touching in there. So I feel like it is definitely tied to this application here as far as how sensitive the screen gets when you're inside of this application right here. So if there was a way we could actually turn this down as far as the sensitivity, that would be perfect. Now, another thing that I felt like is easy to actually use on here is just accessing a lot of the platform menus as well as the platform gaming settings. So if I press this button in the top right-hand corner right here, it's gonna pop up the Lenovo Space application settings in itself. Or if I press it again, it's gonna pop open the quick settings here where you get access to your screen brightness. You also get access to your volume, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, resolution, which you can down it to 1920 by 1280, or you can do 1280 by 800. You can also change the refresh rate, your lighting effects. So if I wanted to turn this on, you can see I have lights around the actual joysticks here, which for me, I actually turn them off because you can turn them to where they're kind of like in a pulsating or breathing state, or you can have them to where they just change and cycle through all of the colors. But to me, I like to turn this off. And you also get the option to be able to change your console key mapping if that's something you guys like to do as well. But if you also tap down here, you also get the option to be able to change and check your battery status as far as your performance goes. You can check the console battery. You can check the left and right controller. You can also check your performance monitoring. So if you're the person out there that likes to monitor your CPU as well as your GPU performance, then you guys can do that as well as your RAM. You can also check your frame rate. So if you guys the type of person that likes to, have your frame rate in the top left-hand corner up here, you can do that. Or you can have, your CPU, GPU, battery life, all of that displayed in the top left-hand corner. But for me, I like to turn that off. But I think the most important area on here is going to be your thermal mode. This is where you guys are going to be able to change the actual performance of this system. So whether you guys are playing games like COD, then you can actually set this to performance mode, which is what I personally recommend. But if you guys are playing like, let's say like a 2D game, like a Minecraft, or you're playing like one of the classic OG games out there and out there in Game Pass, then maybe you probably want to switch it to like quiet or balance mode because you don't really need high power performance for games like that, right? The other thing is you can also change the OS power mode. So this is going to be either you want to have that high power, which is going to give you like 30 watts of power output, so you can, get the best performance out of this system, or you can have it in balance or efficiency mode. And again, that's going to all depend on the type of games you guys are playing. There's a whole lot of stuff that you can do inside of here, but I just feel like overall that when it comes to the software on here, it's very easy and intuitive for you guys to be able to kind of move around and navigate, and I didn't feel like it was tough to move around in. But overall, man, my full testing of the Lenovo Legion Go. Now, is it perfect? No, not by any means, but Lenovo did recently, they only recently made it because people was complaining about it. They recently made a statement that they have some updates that's gonna be coming, that's gonna be pushed out on November 10th, and then there's gonna be another one 2 or 3 weeks after that to be able to fix some of the remaining issues that we having with this machine. Now, I think one of the biggest issues that I would actually like them to fix is just give us the ability to be able to update the drivers on this device so that way we're using the recommended graphic drivers for games like Call of Duty or Gears of War and different things like that. Now, this device is obviously going to be made for those people, again, who are used to being in the PC gaming world and not really geared towards console gamers like myself, because us console gamers, right? We just want to be able to pick up the controller, turn on the system, get the game cracking, and we good to go. But I will say, as a person who is a console gamer, you need to actually understand that there is a lot, and I mean a lot of setup, updates, and customizations that you guys are going to need in order for you guys to be able to get to that point where you can just launch open the system here, go into Steam or wherever you guys like to play, and just be able to play your games. Now, you will also have to deal with some game crashes here and there. You're going to have to deal with some system reboots for updates. Understanding how platforms like Steam as well as Game Pass works is going to be vital to the success that you guys have on here. And if you guys are new to that world, it actually may deter you from even wanting to kind of stick it out on this system here, because you're just used to turning the console on again and select the game and just playing. A lot of those consoles like that are just really ready-made for you versus having to kind of pre-set up all of this for yourself. Although I have my own frustrations with this device, after I got past all of those growing pains and setup annoyances and frustrations, it really is a good handheld gaming PC and console. And I think anyone who actually buys this is going to enjoy the experience on it. Again, after you get past all of those pain points and annoyances that I had. But like I said, man, I think it's a good device. If you guys enjoyed this video here, hit that like button for me. Also consider subscribing to the channel as well. We're getting closer to that 100K sub mark, man. So help your boy out with subbing to the channel right now, man, so we can get there by the end of the year. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'm about to get back to gaming on here, man. I'll see y'all in the next one. Squad, we out.